Let's be honest. Everybody wants to find it, but nobody wants to talk about it. It's like people think it's a competition or a required test of character, and they can't assist others in finding success, as if success is a limited commodity. It's definitely a test of character, but there is no limit to the success that can be had. You'll find that transparency opens the door to authentic relationships, and an abundance mindset brings you friends who also see abundance everywhere and want to share it with those around them. Pursuing a common goal brings out the best version of ourselves as we not only actively pursue our success, but intentionally look for ways in which we can help those on the journey with us. It's a bit of a different vision for everyone, but I know I feel so much better being less insecure about financial choices because I know much more about financial strategies and tangible steps I need to take to get my wife and I closer to the reality of financial independence. These financial principles can be understood and applied by anyone in any situation. The concept starts with the idea of gamifying your finances, setting up the board, having fun playing, and eventually reaching financial independence. The kind of freedom that would let you walk away from any work obligations and live comfortably for the rest of your life. My name is James Hammer, and I'm an award-winning educator, director, and content creator. And I'm here to share what I've learned to help you and your partner get on the same page and both be successful in your journey toward financial independence. Since the fall of 2022, my wife and I have joined with a handful of others in a small group led by finance expert Steve Campbell. Steve and his wife Jen have opened their home almost every Friday night and have passionately and painstakingly taken our group of financial misfits, bonded together by their desire and willingness to improve their understanding of financial best practices, to not only eliminate debt, but to take tangible, actionable steps toward building wealth. Wealth that will eventually give you the freedom to walk away from traditional income-earning employment into the world of financial freedom. You're being invited to join us for a series of conversations recorded in the home where we meet and spread out into digestible broadcasts both on YouTube and where you stream your podcasts that explore not only the broad range of financial concepts like debt reduction, wealth building strategies, retirement accounts, and Social Security benefits, but time or money saving hacks and the options for creating multiple streams of income that don't require your full-time presence. Everybody can play the game. Everybody can win the game. Welcome to the game of FI, because money shouldn't be such a mystery. Where did this concept of financial independence, I mean, obviously in and of itself, it's an understandable concept, but where did the idea of FI as a principle or as an action idea, where did that come from?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's a term out there, the FIRE community, right?
Mm-hmm.
FIRE stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early. And so I think it was driven by millennials at one point. It's really kind of broadened now to really all areas or all ages, basically. Mm-hmm. But the whole FIRE, including the RE, Retire Early, it's kind of taken a backseat now to FI, because Retire Early got a bad rap. Mm-hmm. Because people are like, well, why would you retire early? Those that are actually financially independent tend to actually make a lot of money doing the things that they love doing.
Right.
So they're really not retired. Mm-hmm. And those that actually get to FI or reach that financial independence, it's built in them that they have to be doing something anyway.
Right.
Because they're people of action. They act. It's a proactive lifestyle.
Right.
And so we kind of, like most people, kind of drop the RE off of FIRE and just chose financial independence as the concept for the gamify.
Right, right, and then just kind of takes out any of the confusion. I know that, because of what we're doing, that I'm at a place where I'm actually able to retire from education now, and that process is not going to put us at a place where I just don't have to work anymore, but it definitely frees us up to be able to make different choices. Like I don't have to make as much as I was making, and I can have more fun. I can do things like this and enjoy streams of income that don't involve me doing me being in the classroom or me having to do the things that I once had to do to make income. Now I can create a variety of other sort of income streams and do things that I really enjoy doing, which is stuff like this, which is awesome.
And Jim, you bring up a good point, because there are different levels of FI. There are the levels of FI where, hey, I'm able to walk away from this job that I despise.
Right.
It sucks the life out of me. I just can't do that anymore.
Right.
And because I'm at a certain level of FI, am I where I can do whatever I want? I have enough money to focus on those things that I value most in life? No, maybe not. You're not there yet. We call that fat FI.
Right.
Maybe you're at a more lean FI.
So that's called fat FI. When you're able not only just to make decisions and step away from work, but really still be able to enjoy all the things that you love to enjoy without having to have any additional job that requires your time and energy. Ultimately.
Exactly. Your income, your passive income is covering not only all your required bills, that non-discretionary spending, housing, transportation, food, electricity, all the things that you have to pay every month, but it also covers those discretionary items, those things that we're going to talk about in another episode, those 3 things that you value most in life. It covers that. That's fat FI. And there's a certain formula that will tell you what your fat FI number is, and we'll get to that another time.
Cool.
But maybe, like you said, maybe you're not there and you're just at another level of FI, maybe what we'll call a lean FI, right? We have enough that we can afford to walk away from our job that we can't despise, and it'll make life just so much more bearable, so much more enjoyable. Do I still need to find another source of income? Yeah, probably. I'll need to find another way to make money, but I don't have to do it in this job that is sucking the life out of me.
Right.
That's lean FI, and you're at that position here, and that's what we want people to get to is various stages of FI. Ultimately, though, winning the game is, in most cases, what we define winning the game in the game of FI is getting to that fat FI, because that's when you can really focus on what you value most in life.
Right. Okay, so when you went through this process, you were starting this group, what were your expectations? What did you see happening, or what did you hope would happen? I mean, obviously, anytime you approach, the leadership of an organization and say, "Hey, we're interested in doing a small group within this organization, and we want to focus on this," and what kind of were your thoughts and expectations stepping into that arena and really kind of solidifying the reality of this group and moving forward?
Yeah, great question, Jim. I will admit right up front, I sold myself short right off the bat. We went in to start a small group, and we wanted to disguise the name of it, because money is not, generally speaking, people don't want to be told what they can do with money. The word budget, people look at that rather than what it is, which is a tool to make decisions in this game that we're going to play.
Scary word.
People look at it as, that's what's going to constrain me. This is what's going to prevent me from doing what I want to do in life.
It's an emotionally charged word, yes.
Yes, it's budget.
Yeah.
So when we created a group where we could talk about various things, but finance was what we wanted to really focus on, we decided we're going to call it something not related to finance. Because we don't want to scare people off. We want to get people in and realize that finance isn't scary. So one thing that we're passionate about, or we like, I guess, I won't say it's we're passionate, but we drink coffee every morning, and people talk over coffee all the time.
Right.
So we're just going to call it the Coffee Club, and we had a small group. And it lasted one meeting. We had one person show up, one person,
I
And
think he actually came a couple times.
did he come twice? I don't know. All I know is we invited him again. He said, "Well, I'll see you at church."
So after the first
Which
meeting, he's
was
like,
enough,
yeah, no thanks.
So we realized, okay, well, this isn't going to work. Disguising it had the opposite effect.
Okay.
Right? So
Right.
what we got to do is just own it.
Right.
We got to own it. So now we're going to be like, so what are we going to do? Are we going to do the Dave Ramsey thing? Is that our foot in the door kind of thing? And yeah, we started thinking about that, talking to the pastor about that, and wanting to do that. But in the end, we just, in our good conscience, we couldn't do that because, number one,
Don't agree with everything.
yeah, while we believe that Dave Ramsey certainly helps a lot of people,
Right.
we don't necessarily agree with every concept he has in that journey to,
Right.
I won't say financial independence, journey to get out of debt.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
So we decided against the whole financial FPU or Financial Peace University, right? Dave Ramsey. So instead, we were going to create our own, and so that year passed. We didn't have time to quickly create one after we failed miserably. So by the next fall, that was in the spring. We launch every 6 months or so, the church does. And so by the fall, we were ready to go at it again. But this time we're going to focus on money. And we'll let everybody know this is about money. And specifically, it's about reaching financial independence.
Right.
And I won't go into what we called it, but I will tell you we didn't disguise it like we did last time.
Okay.
So now what we found out though when we actually kicked off, the results were somewhat similar. We had one couple show up, and we were like, again, what are we doing wrong?
Right,
I mean,
right.
it's got to be easier than this. Why don't people want to talk about finances? To me, that's a foreign concept because everybody should want to talk about finances.
Right. Exactly. I mean, seriously.
I see it, right? But in this case, we had one. So we have a systematic approach. Okay, we're going to do it with one couple then, and we're going to play the game.
Right.
And we did. We started off with
And they wanted to meet again.
And,
Because,
yeah.
I mean, I think that was part of it was, do you guys want to do this again? Because they were the only ones. and
Right.
They were like, absolutely, yes.
Yeah, we provided them. We kind of set up their board. It wasn't as detailed as it is today.
Right.
We really refined the process.
Yes.
But back then, we still had a process, and we went through it, and they ran with it. We gave them ways to save money, to lower their bills so that they could get out of debt faster, what we call reaching zero.
Right.
And they got to it, or they took off with those recommendations that we gave them. And they reported back to us like, hey, we've got another way, and they told us what they were doing. We were just so impressed by that.
Yeah.
And we were still like, gosh, I wonder how long it is before they're going to tell us they don't want to meet anymore. Right?
Right.
Awkward.
And so, so we're like asking, do you still want to meet? They're like, yeah. To this day, they meet with they're still part of our group, well over a year and a half later, easy.
Right.
And so we knew at this point, okay, if people get to know what we're doing,
Right.
they will like it. Now we just have to get it out there.
Right.
So just by word of mouth, basically, we had a couple more launches. We got a few more people, but basically word of mouth.
Right.
People started joining. You guys joined. You and your wife joined shortly after. You were the second
Right.
group or
Right.
second couple. I'm sorry.
Yep.
To join. You guys have been there ever since.
Yeah.
And for the most part, almost everybody that joins stays.
Right.
Now, we have had a couple that, due to various reasons, maybe they're too far away, they live too far away, and it just wasn't worth that travel.
Right.
Some, maybe it just wasn't the concept they thought it would be.
Yeah.
Maybe they thought it was a quick, get-rich-quick kind of
Right.
scheme
Right.
that they could, fix their financial problems. It's not. It's
Right.
a game to play, and
Yeah.
for some people, it starts early on. Some people, they're pretty close to the mid portion of the game right when they start. Everybody's different.
And I think you have to get to a point where you need this information.
Right.
You need to learn about how to handle your finances. Even if you feel like it's too late, even if you feel like you are so late in the game that there's no way you'll get to financial independence, you still need to start, because surprisingly, you actually can. And looking at the way we've looked at it, and looking at our situation and the finances, the different. I mean, like I told you, I'd never looked at my Social Security account. Never looked at how that all that worked. I had never looked at my teacher retirement account up until last fall. And by that time, we'd already been in the group for a year. So I was like, okay, now that I have all this knowledge, I need to start applying it. I need to start figuring out how do all these things work? Well, and there's just no substitute for getting in there and doing it and figuring these things out. And the great thing about the tools and resources that you've provided is really, you can learn them and apply them, but then that just continues to open doors. It just continues to open your understanding and make you more perceptive about the things that are about our finances. So do you? So you expected then that the group that you had hoped, I guess more the word, that the group would really take off and that there would be some response to the substance. And so where we are now is we're really seeing the fruits of those labor. We'll come back to that in just a second. But the next question I have for you then is, as we're looking at this broadcast, and obviously, we've been doing this for a while, and we want to bring this information to a larger audience, potentially impact more people with financial concepts that lead them to financial independence. What are some of the topics and things that we'll be covering in this broadcast? Because I know that hopefully it'll be a situation where you and I get to sit down pretty regularly and talk through these concepts. Jen, you're always welcome to join us, but you don't necessarily have to every time. But what are some of the things in the curriculum or in this training, this financial training that you've been working on, and that we've kind of all been working on together, I guess, to some extent? What are some topics that we're going to cover in this? What are the things, if someone were to look at this and say, okay, yeah, this is a great first episode of this broadcast, but what are some things that you're going to cover? Why should I come back?
Right. Yeah.
What are you going to cover that I need to come back for? And I think that here's where the real value steps in for everybody. So tell us a little bit about some of the things that we're going to talk about in this broadcast that we've been talking about really now for a year and a half in these classes.
Sure. First, I do want to say that Jen does have, believe it or not, I mean, from where she came from, you were here a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
What Jen knows now as far as the concept goes, she could pick up where I leave off.
Right.
She could.
Right. So you're always welcome, Jen, to join us.
I could walk out of the podcast and
I don't know that I could always do that. I definitely don't have as much of a knowledge base.
But a lot of those concepts that we really focus on, these are not difficult.
Right.
They just seem difficult to somebody who hasn't been educated on it.
Right.
When they're educated,
Well,
they're
it's like
like,
a new
wow,
language.
that's it.
Anything new that you're learning, what's your knowledge base when you
Right.
first came in? Like math,
Right.
building blocks,
Right.
right?
Right.
I mean, any field, any topic that you're going into or you're learning about, where did your knowledge base start with theater?
Right, exactly. Yeah, with the experience that I had in high school. Yeah.
And everything that you learn.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's not something that it's intuitive, really, or that you just automatically learn. You don't know all of those terms and phrases and like stage left or right. I'm just making up
Right.
stuff.
No, yeah, but that's absolutely true, though. Absolutely true. You learn, like we talked about, education or experience, one or the other. And so, when you don't have a lot of experience in something and there's not a lot of just sort of inherent opportunities to just experience it, it's much more challenging than if it's something like walking, where you learn because if you don't get around. Very, very different concept. So what are some of these things that we'll talk about?
So the podcast itself is going to be educational for sure, and it's going to be entertaining. We want it to be entertaining.
Right.
We want people to relate to it, because everything that I went through, and I won't say Jen, because a lot of the financial difficulties happened before we got together.
Right.
But everything that I went through, people are going through today. So we want them to relate that way. But what are the topics? Number one, first and foremost, we want people to understand the game of 5, the actual process, the systematic process to set up, play, and win the game of 5.
The game of 5,
because
right.
it is a process. It is not, some vague, hey, just get out of debt and then save all you can. No, there's a process. And the topics we're going to discuss is going to help you in that process. It's going to help you either save money or make money. That's what we want to do, is save money and or make money. It's defense or offense, right? Defense, spend less. That will get you closer to 5 because then you have more money to pay your bills, right? Or to save to reach that 5 number that you're trying to get to. Or offense, make more money. That will give you more money to pay down your bills or to save and invest and get to that 5 number that you've determined is your number to live the rest of your life doing what you value most. So we're gonna hit what we call hacks. We're gonna talk about hacks, and there are so many hacks out there.
Probably the most prolific one that we've talked about has been the Southwest Airlines, so the airline points, it's the way you can get, airline points and fly for free everywhere in the world. I mean, ultimately, when it comes to an extent, that Southwest flies. Yes.
Yeah, there's another one that Chase offers. Now, Southwest is a Chase program. Chase Bank. There's another one that you can go, worldwide and hotels everywhere.
Like British Airways
Southwest
or something.
Is basically the States and some Latin American countries and Mexico. But for the most part, if you do it right, you don't pay for those plane tickets. You pay like you and your what they call a companion in the Southwest Airlines. Pay like $11.20, I think it is, per ticket, because that's TSA fees that you can't get out of. But for the most part, you fly free.
And ultimately, you get there by simply putting expenses that you would be incurring anyway onto a new card, and just pay those expenses and pay them off, and pay those expenses and pay them off, and then you pay the minimums and get the points.
You're not going to do anything that's counter to the gamify philosophy. We don't spend money to spend money. We spend what we were already going to have to spend, but in the end, we're going to get something out of it, more out of it, and that's the companion pass in this case. So it's well known out there. You can look it up online, and there are different ways to achieve it, I guess, but our way, we're in the middle of it right now. I've already done it. I've already gotten my companion. We've used all our points. She's now in the middle of her being the primary card holder, and so I think in about a month, give or take, 1, maybe 2 at most, but we will have gotten our second version of the companion pass.
Cool. So we'll get an opportunity. I know people are probably like, how does this happen? We'll get an opportunity. We'll have an episode that deals with it. We'll get to that at some point. But
we diverted there. So hacks.
But seriously, but hacks. But I wanted to make sure people understand that there are real hacks out there where you can make money. Why would you ever leave money on a table when there are opportunities and programs out there that will let you make money doing stuff you already do, give you money back on things you already purchased. I have an app called Upside that I loaded up, and every place that I go get gas, I go to a place that's on the Upside app, and they give me additional cents back per gallon. And so at this point, I think I've had the app maybe 6 months. I've made about $70 back on that app. It's just money back in your pocket, but you're spending it anyway. So there's lots of things like that. So we'll talk about those things in a variety of ways in a variety of episodes.
Our first conversation is coming to a close, and in our conversation finale, part 5, we'll explore the community implications of adults freely and shamelessly exploring a considerably challenging topic like personal and family finances. We have tread on rare interpersonal territory with a group of people who are willing to be transparent about one of the most culturally sensitive subjects in America, finances. You can't help but be changed playing the game of Fi in community with others. Find out how next time on Game of Fi.